Café and Networking Podcast promotes successful business experts. I'm Tom Reaoch, known as the King of Networking, connecting people throughout the world from my podcast studio in Brazil. And today we talk with Derick Gant, and he's joining us from Toledo, Ohio in the United States. Derick Gant, a financial expert, performance coach, TedX speaker, author of the 24K Life Code, expert coach and fitness professional, and also a podcast host. So, Derick, what is real self-mastery?
That is an excellent start. And I will tell you that self-mastery is the ability to maneuver your emotions, to maneuver your mindset, to maneuver your habits in a way that you are in complete control. So it is an inside job, 100% void of external forces.
So nobody's pressing your button. You're pressing your own buttons.
Pressing your own buttons. And it is a lifetime of work to not let outside forces, people, things press your button.
Well, that real life is really that way. Everybody wants to put us into a box. They say, get out of your box, but everybody's putting us into a box. If you go into a school, if you go into a company, whatever you do, you're being boxed in.
Yeah, but Tom, have you noticed that the people that jump out of the box, the people that run as far away from the box, and no matter which direction, left or right, tend to be the most successful because they are being in control of themselves. They know themselves and they refuse to let other people label them.
Well, the boxes are full.
The boxes are full.
Yeah, and so if and really as a startup, for persons to get out and do something, maybe in a new job or starting their own company, there's so much opportunity outside the box.
There really is. And the key, of course, is to trust that you have done the work, you've spent some time, because believe me, everybody knows or believes they know themselves. Mm-hmm. And so the interesting component is even when you think about parents and a child, you have like when I realized that when I was an adult, my parents knew me as a child, but they didn't really know me as an adult. So they kept me in the child box. And as I became, more mature, more successful, it took a lot of success and wins for them from outside, for my parents to validate, okay, well, he's not that kid anymore.
Well, that's a valid point because, and I found that many parents have no idea of what we actually do as a professional.
Absolutely.
You're out there, absolutely. And they may say, well, he's starting something on his own. And that could be, your startup. He's doing something. Right. I'm not really sure what it's about. Mm-hmm. And I feel even with children referring to their parents too. Younger adolescents, when I speak to a lot of younger people, what's your father do? He has a trucking company. But exactly what does he do? Well, I don't know. We really don't know. And that works both ways.
It does work both ways. The science says that, we think about ourselves 95% of the time, but when you think about or listen to or even analyze that statistic, when we're thinking about ourselves, we're thinking about ourselves from the perspective of outsiders, mm-hmm. Engaging with us. So it's like, well, I'm talking to Tom. What does he want from me? So I'm thinking about me, but I'm also thinking, okay, well, what does Tom want from me? Versus, hey, I have a message, and no matter if it's acceptable or not, this is who I am, and this is what I do. And being able to stick to that is a key component to self-mastery.
So would part of that be, would it be fair to say that we need to get out of ourselves and then look back at ourselves and see where the buttons are?
That is exactly what the science tells us. It's a really weird concept to say, hey, I'm going to sit quietly and analyze myself almost as an out-of-body experience to see how I react to things, to see what things push my buttons, and then to start to work on those things as an outsider of yourself so that you can figure out how to control your actions, your emotions, your thoughts, right? Because all of those things lead, your thoughts lead to words, your words lead to actions, your actions lead to results. So when we look at people, we can kind of tell who's in control.
Well, you're a TEDx speaker, you're a podcast host, you're a natural communicator.
Right.
And I think myself as a podcast host, we have an understanding, but many of the persons I've interviewed, they have never heard themselves. So it's not only look at the buttons. They've never, seen or heard themselves in any other role.
Right. And that means that most of the time they can't take criticism. They can't take, when I say criticism, I mean constructive criticism, even from yourself. Like, well, maybe I shouldn't have said that, or maybe that wasn't the best way to handle that, or, next time I'm going to do X. And so I give you a quick example. I used to be in my office and I'd be in a hurry because, we're busy.
Right.
And so I'd rush out of the office, I'd get to the car, and I get to the car, I wouldn't have my keys. And I would just tear into myself. How dumb can you be? That's stupid. You do this all the time. And you just berate yourself, and you're going in about forgetting these keys. And so as you start to have that out-of-body experience on yourself, you're like, wow, that's a lot of heat and anger for forgetting a set of keys. So through my growth and my work and my experience and reading and studying and being introspective, I start saying, wow, that's weird. I never forget my keys. I never forget this is really strange that I forgot my keys. I always remember my keys because, I'm always on top of things. And I promise you within probably 2 or 3 months, I stopped forgetting my keys.
Or if you don't worry about it. You won't criticize
I didn't change
yourself.
anything but that conversation, right? I stopped beating myself up and I started telling myself, hey, you don't forget your keys. And then I stopped forgetting my keys. It was really cool.
Well, I see also you have your 24K life community. See that on your site. So you actually develop a community to talk about all these things?
Absolutely. I believe that the saying is, when you know better, you do better. And I would probably say that hasn't been absolutely true for most people. Most people, when they know better, they want to do better. And if they're constantly reminded of how to do better, then they will begin to do better. So we created a community based on the 24K Life code. And basically, 24K, people think it's about getting rich. It's not. It's about complete self-mastery. So if you take a look at gold, right? And you say, how does pure gold, 24 karat gold, become gold? Well, it has to be heated up, and all the other minerals have to be sifted out. So you got to get rid of the lead, you got to get rid of the copper, you got to get rid of the iron, right? And then you're left with this pure gold, but it has to go through this heated transformation process.
Get to the value.
To get to the value. So if we go through a process of going through the work, going through the heat, going through the transformation, and getting rid of the procrastination, getting rid of the poor self-talk, getting rid of, the things that are holding us back and down, staying inside the box. So if we get to that point to where we truly know ourselves, value ourselves, I believe, society will recognize that, and then they'll want to have you even more, to be on their podcast, to work for their company, to consult with them, to be in a great relationship. So when you become your best, people want more of that.
Well, that's it. I guess once you develop your real self-mastery, you start to shine.
100 easily put. There you go.
Very good. Well, Derick, I want to thank you for sharing your time and experience with us. But how can our listeners find you?
Well, you can go to DerickGant.com. It's DerickGant.com. And everything that we do is there. So our books are there. Access to the community is there. Our master classes, we do one-on-one financial coaching. I mean, that's really what our base is. I'm a financial coach. So we teach self-mastery as part of becoming a money master also.
Very good. Well, thanks a lot for being here.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate it greatly.
And again, for more information, is Derick Gant, D-E-R-I-C-K, the last name G-A-N-T. As he said, you'll find him DerickGant.com, and you also find him on LinkedIn and everywhere else. Café Networking is brought to us by Focus Semi-Market Intelligence, an agricultural market research specialist in Brazil. More information at their site, FOCUSMI.com. Talk to Tom, talk to the world. Thanks for listening. Until the next time here at Café and Networking Podcast.